What is up, everybody? It is Dirty and
DZAN. What is going on, people? Today is Wednesday, February 23rd, but for you, the 25th. Welcome to episode 36. If you love the content we do here, you see that like button, smash that bitch, comment down below with your thoughts on what we're talking about today.
It's right there, man. Come on now.
If you are new.
It's right there.
Dirty D.
Do it.
How you doing today?
Hey, what's happening, man?
Not much, man. Listen, guys, we were actually talking pretty, for a long time. Actually,
extensively.
We hit the record button. So we were like, oh shit, we actually, we just need to start hitting record right when we, start talking.
The conversations are way better when the camera's off for some reason.
We have a few things to talk about today, guys. We're going to be going over Vegas 48, a little bit of BKFC. We're going to get into our top 5 inventions.
Oh, we did it
of all time. Oh, fuck! Was I not supposed to?
Right. Top 5 inventions for humanity.
That's it. All right.
Beginning of time.
Yes. All right. But before all of that, we got some shit to get into. Not football. Football's done and over with. Officially, it's gone. It's out of here. I don't want to hear about it again until at least June.
I don't want to hear about it again until I see black and gold for that big trophy.
Yeah, it's gonna be a while.
Yeah, it'll be a while. Yeah. It probably will. Yeah.
All right, guys. UFC Vegas 48 wrapped up. What a card it was. Let's start out with Joaquin Buckley bringing out Detroit's own defensive. Do you know this guy? You know which guy we're talking about? The Detroit Dust. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
This self-defense dude that's, been memeing, or he's been a meme, like a not real. He's basically the Steven Seagal of self-defense. And Joaquin Buckley brought this dude out and we had him in his corner and he won by split decision. This dude is an undefeated UFC coach. We got to give it to him. We have got to give it to him. What are your thoughts on this, D?
I don't give a shit. I don't care. Hey, Detroit's in the house, baby.
You know what? He said he got upset because UFC wasn't promoting this fight as much as they should have. And so he felt like he had to do that himself. And that was a way of getting some promotion by going out and grabbing this. Well, good on him. Good on him.
Hey.
But I mean, I don't know. It was a little weird to see him in the corner. And then also when he was talking, it was just a weird sight. And honestly, it was a rough fight for Joaquin.
It was.
By, scraping by with split decision.
Yeah.
But holy shit, Jim Miller.
Oh,
taking
the old dude.
Woo, Donald Cerrone's most win record. And or just tying it, I believe is what it is. He now has the most fights. But so Jim Miller. Holy shit. Defeated by TKO. Baby. Dr. Sabatini.
I love the OGs, baby.
Yes.
I love the OGs. And he is an OG. I mean, he goes way back to the beginning of time, man.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Jim Miller. He's kind of got an odd looking frame. Nico Price has an odd looking frame.
A very wide chest, but slender
shoulder.
Torso.
Looks like he's wearing shoulder pads.
Yeah, it does. So wide.
Yeah. Jim Miller, legend. And clearly now with that record, that's got to be Hall of Fame status, man. Has to be Hall of Fame status.
Oh, yeah. And how about
love Jim Miller, by the way. Just
the
love
buzzer
him.
Beater. The motherfucking
what the fuck? The tap.
Woo! Kyle Dawkins getting the tap by Jimmy Pickett. Had Jimmy Pickett waited 0.5 seconds.
He probably still would have lost. Him a lot of credit though, because even though we know that they could have went back to replay, he immediately admitted that he tapped. And mad respect for that, because there's so many fighters in that same situation.
Chael Sonnen.
I didn't. What are you talking about?
What do you mean? Me? I don't tap.
Oh wait, who was the guy that said he didn't tap? Oh, Dominic Cruz. Yeah.
Yeah, Dominic Cruz. Yeah, Dominic Cruz. Yeah.
So mad respect for it instantly admitting. Yeah.
I mean, right? I mean, how crazy when they played it back with sound, and it's like 3, 2, 1. You still don't see the arm come up, and you're like, oh no, they definitely didn't get it. Right before it's 0, he's like,
well, yeah. And then it looked like his arm was kind of getting limp before he tapped. So I was starting to wonder if he just would
have went out.
Right. I was wondering if he's actually going to tap.
But of course,
might have been better for him to go out, because then the bell would have rang.
The bell would have rang. He would have came to really quickly too.
Yep.
He probably would have just been able to get up and kind of, So, but wow, crazy buzzer beater. I was jumping off the fucking
was wild.
wall.
I was too. That was wild.
And then let's talk about. Yeah. Go ahead.
I just wanted to insert one quick thing here. We did gloss over something that happened in the NFL. So after we talk about this, we have to come back to
I won't let you forget.
Important piece that happened this week. Yeah.
What about the zombie fucking knockout of Johnny Walker, Jamal Hill catching the temple just perfectly?
Okay.
And sending him timbering down.
My thoughts are lucky shot, number one.
Yeah.
It was a very lucky shot. It was an overhand. He wasn't even looking where he was throwing. If you watch the playback, lucky shot.
Yeah.
With that said, it wasn't a straight shot. It wasn't a hard shot. It was the perfect shot. And how many times have we talked about that on here? Right there.
Yep.
Right there. And right there.
Yep.
You hit one of those spots, you're going to sleep. I don't care who you are.
Yep.
So that was a perfect example of that.
And the reflexes, holy shit, Johnny Walker. You know what? It reminded me of the Edson Barbosa fight where he fights Shane Burgos, and he hit him so hard that it literally took Shane about 5 seconds to realize that he was getting knocked out. And then he like stumbled back, and then, you know what I mean? You know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah,
where he like stumbled and then hit the cage.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
That it was freaky, man. It's like his nervous system was just like shocked, and then he fell back.
Well, it was a timber. Right?
Yeah, it really was.
He looked like a tree that just fell backwards.
Yeah, man.
It was pretty wild and funny looking. But I do want to say, though, that I think Johnny Walker, he looked a little lax in that fight. Mm-hmm. He was walking into shots with his hands down.
He looked too confident too.
He looked way too confident. Exactly. And that's exactly where my brain was with that at that moment. Yeah.
I mean, when you train with those guys down, in SPG, and he's still trying to get his, feet fully like cemented in that whole thing, it's hard, and I think he went in with way too much confidence, and he did not respect the power that Jamal had. And he learned a very valuable lesson. He said it as well. I learned a very good lesson. We're just going to get up and move on to the next one. So, I hope Johnny Walker is going to be all right. He came in with he was just such a flash in the pan, I feel like, you know what I mean? And then
we know that he's under Paradigm, and he fights out of SBC America. And I know that Jim is kind of teetering right now. So, I hope it doesn't get closed. But if Johnny Walker finds his way out of the UFC, he was the king or the kingpin, not the kingpin, the something pin, to keep the glue together. So, anyway. Yeah.
It was tough loss for him, but man, Jamal Hill, great win for Jamal Hill. And this dude, he's just such a stand-up guy. I love when Jamal Hill talks. I love the way he carries himself. I love what he says on the mic. I mean, he's just always been a real one.
Dynamite on the mic.
Dynamite, man. And when people started memeing the fuck out of Johnny Walker, and even getting into Johnny Walker's fiance's DMs and really saying some really crazy shit, he was just like, you guys aren't fans of mine if you're doing that shit. And you know what I mean? You don't do that to that man. That man is, he's all, you guys are cowards. You would never say that shit to his face. Like, I just love the way he carries himself. This is the same man that for his first loss ever in the UFC, in MMA, he's 10-1 now, but his last fight, he lost to Paul Craig when he got his arm snapped. Right.
Such
a horrific loss. And especially to be your first. and he was just talking it up with Paul. Craig, he went and he fucking had drinks with this guy. But what I'm saying is the way he carries himself is just so genuine, so real that it doesn't faze him like that. And he's just like, he's just such a genuine guy. I really love Jamal Hill. So I was really happy to see him get the win, but also, pretty upset for my man, Johnny Walker there. Did you catch any of BKFC?
I did not.
Or am I going to be alone talking about it? All right. I'll only talk about the 2 fights.
But
before actually, that,
you go. No. We'll go through the MMA stuff and then we'll do it. Okay. It's just a quick piece there, but I'll be right back, guys.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to talk about Bare Knuckle Championship. So this happened the same night as UFC Vegas 48. For those of you who follow us on Instagram, you would know that I posted a picture, was like both my TVs. I had Vegas 48 up here, and then on the smaller TV, I had the Bare Knuckle Championship pay-per-view popping off. So, and for those of you that aren't, following us on Instagram, go follow us on Instagram at Dirty and DZAN. Come on now, people. Anyways, what I was going to say was Bare Knuckle Championship fighting. They just had their Knuckle Mania 2 this Saturday, and they had Julian Let Me Bang Bro versus Mike Perry. And we also had Chad Mendez making his BKFC debut as well. Holy shit, Chad Mendez showing such championship heart, getting 4 knockdowns with this. I think his name was Fames, getting 4 knockdowns on this guy. And then not taking him out in the 4th round. TKO, done. Chad Mendez looked fucking fantastic. Really fantastic. And then to end the night out, before that, we had Britton Hart, who you guys may know is the person that beat Paige Van Zant for her debut. She fought for the inaugural 125 belt, and she lost last night. But what a fucking fight between those 2 women. What a war. And then we ended the night with a couple title fights, but in the mix, we had Mike Perry versus Let Me Bang Bro Julian Lane. It was one of the best bare knuckle fighting fights I've ever seen. This whole card was the best card since Lobov versus Knight, which those of you who remember
fight.
BKFC 5, it was fucking fire. Every fight was amazing. And that fight in particular was one of the greatest fights I've ever seen.
Paulie Malignaggi.
No, the guy before that, Jason Knight, when you see tooths flying and they had teeth embedded in their knuckles.
Yeah, I saw the highlight. I saw the highlights.
Yeah, it was fucking incredible. And this fight really, it exceeded what my thought of what this fight was going to be. Totally exceeded it. All respect to these 2 guys. Anybody getting into fight bare knuckle, all fucking respects. I mean, you're going to shatter your knuckles in the 1st round, and then you're just hitting bone the whole rest of the time. I mean, all respect to these guys. Watching it now, it's turning much more as a sport. I don't see it much, as a joke as I did before. And that's because as these things evolve, strategies evolve, things, start happening. You start seeing things where the referees are letting them clinch a little bit longer. They're starting to find their way a little bit more. And I'm really, really liking where this is going. So much so that I have subscribed to them. So I will be watching. They have another championship fight coming up on March 12th. Belfort, who, if you guys should know, Belfort, who's fought
Vito?
UFC. He's fought Bellator. Yeah. So he's going to be fighting as well.
He's a Hall of Famer.
So it's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. Great stuff. It was a great night of fights. I was losing my voice. I was telling them it was happening at the same time of Vegas 48. So I was watching them on 2 screens. It was nuts. But that was it for both of those fights. The only other MMA news that I have this week is fucking heart-wrenching. And I don't know. This is going to be one of the weakest cards of the year this Saturday. Okay. It was supposed to be Beneil Dariush versus Islam Makhachev in a contender match for who's going to get to see the winner.
That was
of
the fight
Gaethje
the world
and
wanted to see, man.
It was the #1 contender in one of the hottest divisions in the UFC. And now Beneil Dariush.
I would have paid. I would have paid a pay-per-view for that.
Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely. Well, it was obviously carrying this card. because if you look at every other fight, literally they don't even have a picture up for one of the girls that's fighting. Like it's nobody. And they were going to carry it with this. And look, I love Bobby Green. I'm getting ahead of myself. I do love Bobby Green, but
so do I.
I mean, do we really have to question how this fight's going to go on 10 days short notice with Bobby Green versus Islam? Do we really have to guess how this fight's going to go? No. But we were guessing it with Beneil, and that's why it was so interesting and exciting to watch. It's not even a number one contenders fight anymore. This is going to be a catch weight at 160. This is one of the weakest fucking cards that we're going to have this year. So buckle up, ladies and gentlemen.
Too.
It's very unfortunate. And what a freak accident. From what I understand, his toe landed weird, in the canvas while he was going for a simple takedown.
Turn the wrong one. Yeah.
So really, really tough to see that. But that's all I had for MMA, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a rough fight card this week, but we'll get through it. We'll get through it.
That is sad, though. I'm with you, brother. I'm with you 100% on that. I love Beneil Dariush. He's one of those guys that just doesn't have a quit in him. And so that's what made this fight so intriguing, because out of anybody that he would fight in this weight division that's left, I think he was the one.
He is the one. He is the one that can beat Islam. I've said it months ago. He is a future champ. This dude, oh man, it's so tough. It's so tough.
It's kind of heartbroken. To me, it's kind of like watching Izzy being champ right now, but knowing that Khamzat is coming. Right. We know we have a pretty good idea what's going to happen.
Corner. Right around the corner.
Right. And so, it's terribly disappointing. And unfortunately, this has happened so many times. This Connor and Jose the first time. Just so many times this has happened,
man.
And it's just,
you just like brought me back. I almost cried.
Yeah.
When the news broke.
Yeah.
About his rib.
But,
I was like,
Jose did that thinking he was fucking Connor over. But what he did was he sealed his fate. And I think 100%. He'd have been much better off just taking him on at that moment.
100%. Guys, if you don't know what we're talking about, go watch Notorious. It's one of the greatest movies of all time. All right. Now,
I'll squeeze this in here real quick, because it is a big topic of conversation right now. And that is
NFL.
Yes. Brian Flores. So he was the former head coach of the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins relieved him of his duties. He decides to go interview for the New York Giant job and the Denver Bronco job. He didn't get either job. So he's suing not only the Dolphins, but he's suing the Giants, and he's suing Denver. Now, when this first came out, being of the frame of mind where DZAN and I come from, our immediate thought was, okay, we're going to support this motherfucker. Right. So, but then some truths came out, and one of those truths came out today is the situation in Miami. We were led to believe by Brian Flores' attorneys that he signed an NDA contract, which basically an NDA contract is just a contract. It's a general contract that you'll sign whether you're working at Comerica Bank or you're working for the Miami Dolphins and anything in between. And they're just filled with things saying that you can't say anything disparaging about the company if you were to leave.
The non-disclosure agreement. Right.
So you have to kind of go out of your way to not do that. Well, Brian Flores went the opposite direction based on the advice from his attorneys. Well, here's where the kicker comes in. So today we find out that the NDA that Brian Flores signed, his attorneys were insinuating that the Miami Dolphins made him sign that right before he left. Well, actually, the NDA contract goes back from when he first signed.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So he knew this beforehand.
Oh, yeah,
so
yeah.
As far as that lawsuit goes,
I mean, that's dead in the
it's
water.
a non-discussion. But now, and I'm not sure if you're aware, but in the interim here over the past weekend, the Pittsburgh Steelers actually brought on Brian Flores as the assistant defensive coach. The assistant defensive coach, and then he is the linebackers coach, something to that effect.
Oh, okay.
They carved a place out for him,
right? Exactly. That's what it sounds like.
But I want to say, leave it to the Pittsburgh Steelers organization for doing the right thing.
Yeah.
This guy, while yes, he has some things he's got to get worked out.
Right.
Nobody in the league, because he sued 3 teams, nobody in the league ever believed that he was going to be a coach again.
Right.
Let alone this season. And it is with the Pittsburgh Steelers organization. I am a huge Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Everybody knows that. Right. I promise you that's not why I'm bringing this up. I'm bringing it up because the Steelers organization is the only organization that is providing a platform for Black coaches in the NFL. All right. Mm-hmm. And what's happening a lot of times is that teams are going to bring on a coach, a Black coach, and he's a placeholder. And we've seen this everywhere.
Right.
What they do is they tank. So they bring in a Black head coach because it takes care of the Rooney Rule. And and also it looks good for the optics, right?
Right.
But then what they do is they tank, and then they fire him, and then they bring in a white coach, and now all of a sudden they've got 23 draft picks in the first round.
Yeah.
And it's very unfair, and it's happening all over the NFL.
I was going to say everywhere. Yeah.
And the Pittsburgh Steelers once again stepped up to the plate, and I applaud you, Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
Not as a fan, just as a human, as a human.
Yeah. I'm really glad you brought that up. Deep. Yeah. Hey guys, listen, before we move on to our top 5 inventions, I just want to say really quickly, we had a lot of singles and a lot of albums that dropped. I just got to say my top one, Jack Harlow, Nail Tech. Jack Harlow is quickly becoming one of my favorites, man. Jack Harlow. Really? Wow, man. He is one of these new school guys that knows how to keep a flow, but keeps it with a lot of substance. And I like that. I like that a lot. They don't just rap to rhyme words together and just say the same shit. He does it with a purpose, and I really like it. Even these type of songs where it's real, almost poppy hip hop, kind of new school. He still brings it with
I don't mind hip hop
with different looks of these flows. What's that?
I don't mind hip hop. I
don't mind hip hop anymore as much, not nearly as much as I did before. And it's always just that thing of being really, really just not liking something you don't really understand. You don't really know.
Sure.
But the more you listen to it, the more open-minded you are, right?
Hello. Yeah.
Yep. The more it kind of opens you up to listening to, a plethora of really great shit, no matter what genre it is.
And that's something I'm just so thankful that everything that's transpired over the past 3.5 years of my life. It's not just hip hop. I'm listening to a wide genre of music.
Yeah.
And I'm finding beauty in every one of them.
Yeah.
And there's so many talented people in every genre, and those are the people I seek out, and if it's a country guy and he's writing really good songs, I'm going to listen to him, and if it's a rock guy, I'm going to listen to him. If it's a hip hop, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. But as far as hip hop goes, I mean, there's just some songs that are just maybe not even, you wouldn't consider hip hop, but because it's so popular,
right.
become hip hop,
Exactly. So. Yep. And then the album drop, my number one album drop, my second to T.I., my second favorite Southern hip hop artist, Big Crit, coming out with Digital Roses Don't Die. I've heard about half the album last night. So dope, man. I love me some Big Crit. So lyrical. I love his tone of voice. I just love everything about Big Crit, and his beat selection is some of the best in the game. So shout out to Big Crit with Digital Roses Don't Die. Really dope album so far. All right, Dirty, what do you say we take a quick break, pause real quick before we get into these inventions?
Do it. Right back.
and then I told the guy, you can't have a stapler if you don't put staples in.
Anyway, he's joking, guys.
I want to say some random shit when we turned it back on. All right, guys, we are getting into
top
go ahead, Dirty.
Five. Please. Top 5 greatest inventions for humanity.
Yes.
Since the dawn of time, what are the greatest top 5 inventions that you've ever seen or experienced or benefited from? And I'm going to start mine out with an honorable mention. And I
should have known. Fucking a Dirty
automobile.
Okay.
The automobile was my honorable mention. And the only reason I had an honorable mention is because of the fact that I didn't have the automobile in my list.
Okay.
You know what? I had to find a way to shove it in there.
Yeah. Because that's what you do, Dirty. Or sometimes you'll say you'll say 2 people in one number and you'll be like, no, I didn't say that already. Yeah. I am on to you. Plumbing is my honorable mention because we were talking about that off camera.
And I was like, the humanitarian.
There we go. All right, Dirty. For those of you that don't know how we do these is we just take turns going 5, 5, 4, 4, all the way down to 1. Dirty D, kick it off. What is your number 5?
Flight. The power of flight. The ability to pick up and leave Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and fly to Venice, Italy, and be there in 12 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Is absolutely amazing when you think about that. And it is the very first thing that took place that started connecting the world.
Yeah.
And I think that was a fantastic thing to be able to connect. And as you know, you've heard me say many times on my other channel that I love the ability to be able to connect over the waters here. And it's just a great feeling knowing that we are having conversations with people in Eastern Europe and in Japan and in South Korea and on my other channel, we close to 50,000 subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
They're from everywhere, from all over the place. And I have people reach out to me on Instagram and Twitter and private message me on Patreon. And it's just so exciting for me personally, knowing that that's taking place. 10 years ago, you'd have told me that I was speaking to somebody from Brazil. And then the next day I'm talking to somebody in Japan. It's just phenomenal. Crazy. And that all began with flight, in my opinion.
All right. That's a good one. My number 5 is antibiotics or penicillin.
I'm glad you said that because I did not.
So, that is my number 5. When I think about kind of like what helped push humanity forward, obviously medicine, giving people, longevity in their lifespan, helping them with simple things that would have taken them out, that now there are a lot of simple cures for with just antibiotics. So that is my number 5.
That's an awesome one because, the story of the Black Plague,
right. Yeah, no shit.
They're walking around with those big beaks on their faces. And people don't realize the reason they were wearing those big things is because they would stuff the beak of that face mask with leaves and stuff. And they thought it was filtrating their air, which it probably was.
Right.
And so that's why they were wearing those during those times. But I mean, let's face it, the thing that really fixed all of that, all of those problems, the Black Plague and leprosy and all of those things, antibiotics.
Imagine if they had an antibiotic back then.
Crazy.
Right?
Yeah.
They wouldn't have
might not know the story of
population.
Jesus Christ if it were for antibiotics, right?
Antibiotics. Number 4, what do you got?
Number 4 for me is the internet.
Okay.
The same reason as the flight. So what I did here was, I don't know if you're paying attention, but we went from flight to the internet, yet another way of the world connecting with each other. And I thoroughly enjoy that part of it.
That's a really good one. My number 4, cement. The literal building blocks of our world. You know what I mean? Just cement, simply cement. Buildings, and infrastructure.
Put in mortar is a type of cement, and you can find mortar, thousands of years ago when they were building the pyramids. They also had other structures there, and some of these structures have mortar in them. These are 5,000 years old.
Right.
It's pretty wild. Yeah. It's a really good one.
Already dirty.
Number 3 for me is the telephone, the phone.
Okay.
We've watched this thing go from being a luxury in very wealthy people's homes to now and being hardwired into it. You had to walk to the phone. And you were tethered to the phone by a cable, and so now, we have these things, and our entire lives operate through this now. And it's just going to continue on. I think eventually these are going away. I think we'll probably find some way to wear it.
I was just
going to
say
it'll be
wearable.
A watch, but it'll be some sort of
scan on your
something. And then you just wear a Bluetooth and boom. But the telephone is, it's another way of connecting us. So.
I love it. All right, guys, my number 3 is the wheel. Without the wheel, we would not have automobiles. We wouldn't have gears. Think of anything cylindrical that we use for powering devices. The wheel is one of the most important inventions of all time.
When you go to Egypt or Machu Picchu, you go to these different places that have these gigantic granite stone structures, and some of these stones, there's a few of these big giant blocks of stone in Egypt. They're still there, and you can stand on it and everything. It's pretty cool, but they're bigger than 2 houses put together. They're enormous. And how do you move that? Well, we know that most likely they used logs
or aliens
and pushed them and probably pushed them and rolled them along, but that was a wheel. So
without the wheel,
they're
super important.
Absolutely. My number 2 is electricity. Speaking of connecting, electricity. And by the way, fuck Thomas Edison. Let's give a shout out to Nikola Tesla. All right. Because why he is absent from our history books is absolutely mind-boggling to me. Because all Thomas Edison did was steal all of Tesla's shit. So when he worked at Westinghouse, there's a direct lineage, and you can see the timeline. That's exactly what happened. Tesla worked there, and after Tesla left, all of a sudden Edison invented all of these things that and then obviously the DC current, was what Edison's was, and Tesla's was AC current, alternating current, which allowed you to go a lot further. I mean, Nikola Tesla is the godfather of electricity. Let's not get it twisted here. But electricity, we know what it does for us. This wouldn't be happening. The light above me wouldn't be happening. None of this would be happening without electricity. But it goes beyond that. Electricity is everywhere. It's in the sky. It's in the universe. It's here. It can be manufactured. It's a never-ending supply of power, at least seemingly never-ending. But it's a beautiful thing, man.
Yep, that's a beautiful way to put it too. My number two is kind of a cheat. Communication devices. So pretty much the first three that Dirty said.
Well, that's what we're doing here, though.
Rolled into one.
Yeah.
So I mean, I was just thinking the telephone, computer, anything that we use to communicate with each other.
Just so you guys know, we never ever discuss these. So we always make sure we keep them separate. We don't know what we're doing here. We talked about it before we started. Most likely we were going to have the same things on there, but I'm finding that we don't, which is really odd because normally we always have very similar lists. So
communication devices, so important. Dirty said it all earlier. Dirty, what is your number?
My number one, and it should be the number one for you and the number one for everybody. And it's the reason that this list started. Because yesterday I was near a toilet. Okay.
Hold on. When you start the story with I was near a toilet.
I was you'll see why I say this.
Okay.
I was near a toilet. I'm trying to be careful because I don't want to throw anybody in this house under the bus, but it was quite stinky. Okay. But all of those problems go away when you go, right? And you turn the ceiling fan on. But but all of those problems kind of disappear eventually once you push that plunger. Well, when you think about that, that's mind-boggling because it just disappears and you don't even think about it anymore. As soon as you take a shit, it disappears and you never have to think about it again. 100 years ago, however long ago it was, a few hundred years ago, they were burying it in their backyard. Okay. And they were burning it.
Some still do.
and some of them still burn it. But yeah, I mean, it's a much more sanitary system now.
I love it. The plumbing system for Dirty D's number one. What Dirty D didn't know is we actually did share one in common. It just wasn't the same number. My number one, electricity. I want to give a shout out to my man, Edison. All respect to you. I'm just Dirty said it best. I couldn't say anything else. Dirty said it best. My number one is electricity for every reason that Dirty said. Without the electricity, most of the things even on our list wouldn't be possible. So electricity is by far in my head the most important invention of all time. So
and I just realized,
to you, Edison.
I just realized, I did point out the first few that I mentioned that, these are the things that help connect us. And actually every one of these, if you include plumbing as mine, they're all connecting. Every single thing on my list is some sort of connection to the rest of the world. It's pretty interesting. I didn't look at it like that.
Right. You weren't thinking about that until
not at all.
Once you speak it out, once you talk it out. Yeah.
And it just happened. Yeah. Pretty well.
Yeah. This was a fun one. I really like this one. This is a fun one. We got to do more of these fun ones. I like this a lot. Ladies and gentlemen, if you like what we do here on this channel, like we said in the beginning, if you see that like button, you haven't yet smashed it, smash that bitch. Comment down below with your thoughts, with your top 5 inventions as well, and subscribe if you are new. We'll want to take the time to really thank you guys on a week-to-week basis. Those who follow us on Instagram, that's slowly grown. We got 21 people. What's up?
Shout out
and to thank to everybody that watches this.
We started this channel with nothing. Okay, we didn't get some big push by YouTube or anything. We're over 300 subscribers, and we're a few months into this thing. So we're very, very pleased with that, and we're not going anywhere. So this stuff's going to keep coming, and we're going to keep continuing on. So might as well join along with us.
Exactly. And as we grow, of course, there's going to be other content here on this channel. You guys let us know more suggestions.
Yeah, we got plans. Yeah, we've been talking
plans. Yeah. So thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you next week. Dirty D. That's all you got. That's all I got.
Peace.
Peace.